I would now request Mr. Ravi Raman, Vice President of Bloomberg Business Week Middle East, to come on stage and hand over a plaque as a token of appreciation to Mr. Ashish Chauhan. As Ashish is also a keynote speaker, while they come on stage, I would like to introduce him. Ashish currently works as the Managing Director and CEO of BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange, the first stock exchange of Asia. He's one of the founders of India's National Stock Exchange, where he worked from 1992 to 2000. At NSE, he was instrumental in setting up the first screen-based trading in India, equities market, and first commercial satellite communications network for India. He's also known as the father of modern financial derivatives in India. He also created several path-breaking frameworks, including Nifty Index, NSE certifications in financial markets. From 2000 to 2009, he worked as the President and Chief Information Officer at Reliance Group and also acted as the CEO of the cricket team Mumbai Indians in its formative years. He's won several international and Indian awards, which includes the CEO of the Year, Diamond Sabre Awards 2015 Hong Kong, Indian Business Leader of the Year, Horasis Interlake in Switzerland 2015, RH Patel Award for Excellence in Financial Services, Distinguished Alumnus Award, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay 2014, Best CEO in the Financial Markets in the Asia Pacific by the Asian Banker 2014, Z Business Awards as a special contribution to commodities and capital market 2013, and the Top 50 CIOs Information Week US 2009. He holds a BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Bombay and a PGDM from IIM Kolkata. He is a distinguished visiting professor at Ryerson University, Toronto, Canada. So I'll just get the plug. Yep. I would request Ashish to come on stage and deliver his keynote address.
Mr. Ravi Raman, friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure and honor to be here in front of you. BSE is the hub of investment, a place of wealth creation and innovation, which has been happening for almost now 140 years plus. This year we are celebrating completion of 140 years of BSE. BSE has long connected the corporate world with the investors, and BSE is known as the first exchange in Asia. Tokyo Stock Exchange was set up 2 years after BSE. Given the history, BSE is also boasting the technology which makes it the fastest exchange in the world, with 6 microseconds response time. In a second, there are 1 million microseconds. And we give you a response time, that is when you place an order on BSE, we give you a response of 150,000th of a second. Many of us think why exchanges need to give such fast response time, because humans cannot decipher even 1/3 of a second. But nowadays, most orders are originated from computers. And that's where this speed is of importance. Today, almost 96-97% of all orders originate not from humans in India. They originate from computers only. BSE is world's largest exchange in terms of number of companies listed, and amongst top 10 exchanges in the world by market capitalization, by trading volume, and so on and so forth. BSE's trading technology can handle up to 500,000 orders a second with current configurations. Today, we stand on the threshold of economic revolution and challenge in the history of our country and also the world. The history of the world is replete with examples of technology, whether they are social technologies or conceptual technologies. From invention of zero to everywhere, we have seen technology changing the game. In fact, my hypothesis is that technology is the only change that happens. The societies surround it. And societies which harness the technologies which are coming are the societies that win over others, either military-wise or otherwise. If you look at the framework, the last 250 years, the technology has come in waves. Even last 10,000 years, technology has come in waves. And waves have been faster and faster. So steam engine took around 200 years to come across the world. Electricity took 100 years, and still we are trying to electrify our villages. A television took 60 years, a mobile phone took 30 years, a Facebook took 5 years. Waves are coming faster and faster, and the societies which can harness technology, which can have people who are technology oriented, are going to be the eventual winners. India is in a unique place with its young population. I can see a lot of young people today here. Almost 50% of India is below age 25 and 65% below 35. And this is going to remain for pretty long, till 2050. These young people also are technology oriented by a quirk of fate. In fact, many people ask me across the world that how the Indians have suddenly become the technology oriented. 30 years back, when I used to go to US or Europe, India was not in the news. And whenever, once in a month, there were news, it was about cartoons and about cows roaming on the road or snake charmers. Today, India is on the news every day by saying that you guys take away our jobs. And that is largely over 90s because of the computerization of the rest of the world. And India had a unique opportunity which completely on its own, without too much government help, people stood up and created a framework so that they could go out and take advantage of the computerization that was happening in the rest of the world. And today, we have created several billionaires, several role models who came from nowhere. Using their brains, they created the wealth. And that has motivated, that has created role models for youngsters to follow, to emulate. And that's why when I keep on asking myself, how is it that India in next 20 years or 30 years is going to be different from the rest of the world? And the only answer is technology and youth. To combine technology and youth is a very potent combination because young people can learn newer things. Old people, after 25, 30, 35, do not relearn newer things. Young people who are technology oriented are going to create a framework which is going to create wealth over the next 30 years that has not been created in the last 10,000 years. One single technology of IT changed the world over the last 30 years, completely transformationally. But similarly, 20 technologies are coming and they are going to transform the world 20 times faster, 20 times bigger. And that wealth will be created by young people. They are also going to have more demand from young people. Today, Japan is old. Whatever money they pump in, even from helicopter, it's not going to create demand because old people still continue to use the same phone they used 10 years back. Young people change things. So the demand is going to be from young people. Innovation is going to be from young people. And there are 20 technologies, from artificial intelligence to space technologies, to robotics, to genetic modification, to anything you can think of today. India is a leader because of the exposure, and India is a leader not because government says so or government has planned for it. Many countries, small and big, have created governments which are able to push people, create plans and push people into execution, whether that is Japan or China and even smaller countries. India is actually a bottoms-up country, unlike top-down. And that is basically the difference between India and the rest of the world. India's journey of liberalization from 91 onwards has been about basically what I call anti-fragile. That people do what they feel like, and sometimes our prime ministers say something, we don't do it. Our leaders say something, we don't do it. We do what we feel like. And that is the beauty of India. That is actually why India is going to be the next leader going forward in the world. The other part is about non-linearity of payoff. Earlier, you had to have $1 billion to create $1 billion of wealth. You needed capital. Today, you require very little capital to create huge wealth. And that, along with the newer technologies and young people who are motivated, use their brains to create wealth for themselves and of course for the country, is going to be a game changer going forward. India also has severe issues in terms of the unemployment. Today, unemployment is running almost 9.5%. And India traditionally has a society which is able to absorb the ill effect of unemployment. but over a period, India will have to create the entrepreneurs who are going to innovate, create wealth for themselves, but also for job for rest of the country. And we need to be creating 15 million new jobs every year for next 20 years. We need to be creating 300 million new jobs. 15 million is a very large number, although many of you who stay in India don't appreciate, because everything in India in terms of number is very large. But 15 million is severely lower than America's total unemployment. When you look at CNBC on Fridays and Mondays, when unemployment rate is coming, the markets go up and down in US, and the interest rates are taken up or down. But in entire next 20 years, probably they will have to create 10 million jobs if the population remains the same. We'll have to create 15 million jobs every year for next 20 years. It is almost creating one Australia every year, every 2 years in India, in the job markets. And that's a severe, severe ask. And that has to happen by creating arbitrage. There are what I call the arbitrage of the labor that is happening. And if US is having $50,000 per annum per capita income, and India is having $1,500 with better brains, there is bound to be jobs coming into India if they can be transported. Whatever governments do, there or here, those jobs are going to come here. And there are many, many jobs which have been created and which will be created, which you have not even thought about today. My hypothesis is that in next 20 years, 70% jobs will be such that we have not even thought about them today. And I am a living example of thinking about it. When I have had opportunity to think for last 30 years since I was out of college, saying what is happening. And somewhere on the line, when I was growing up, nobody could have thought that when you go into McDonald's drive-in in New Jersey and you give your order sitting in your car to the person who is taking care and drive the other side to take your packet, the entire transaction is actually happening in Wipro, Bangalore. Nobody could have thought 30 years back, even 20 years back, that this is possible. But 70% of the jobs will be such that we have not thought about them today. In future, near future, in next 10, 15 years, many jobs which are currently available to us, especially in manufacturing, will be taken away by robots. And similarly, we'll have to create newer and newer jobs for our people. There's going to be revolution in agriculture. There is going to be many, many areas which are going to be very different from what it is today. And the young people sitting here and outside of the hall in India have to understand that the future is theirs if they can take it by the horn. We have a bull outside BSc. It is basically for you guys to take the bull by the horn. The technology bull is running, and you need to take it by the horn, make your life better, and everyone else's life better. Today, with $2.2 trillion of GDP, India is practically on the bottom. But given what is happening today in technology, I won't be surprised by 2035 if Indian GDP is $20 trillion. And that wealth, almost 10 times of what is happening currently in Indian markets or Indian economy, is purely going to get value added out of the economy and innovation. So I just wanted you to be aware that the valuations you see today in tech companies in many times you think they are not correct, and probably the companies may not remain. Some of the companies which we call unicorn may not remain tomorrow, but the promise of technology will be more than fulfilled. I was given an example this week by somebody about the free pricing of many of the e-commerce companies that are doing. We think it is new. But when the vegetable ghee came into India in 1950s, it was given away free in sachets at the traffic signals to get people to get used to the vegetable ghee, which is basically vegetable fat. And in India, people were used to eating the cow and then slowly people started appreciating the vegetable ghee, or what is called dalda. The dalda company actually closed down, but the brand name still remains called dalda. And that is basically the great marketing that happened. But anytime a new technology happens or new technology, new framework comes up, a lot of seeding has to happen. The good thing today, is that earlier what used to take 50 years is happening now in 3 years, 5 years across the world. And that scale is coming up manifold. And that's why many venture capitalists, private equity, and angel funders are willing to fund very, very difficult ideas, because if you are able to reach scale, then the amount, basically you are trying to buy lottery tickets, as I call it, non-linear payoff, that you put in $100,000, like what Google did, and you may get $100 billion or $1 trillion company. And if you put in $1 trillion, and if you don't have innovation, you will probably remain with $100,000. So that is where the non-linearity of payoff is actually happening across the world. And this is a unique opportunity for India because it's going to remain young for next 30, 40 years. China has suddenly become old. Japan has become old. Europe is old. America is getting old. India is the only country which is large, young, technologically oriented, and it has tested innovation. Most of the innovations across the world today are happening through Indian brains. Most of the Silicon Valley startups have some or other Indian associated with them. And that exposure, that connectivity of India with the places of wealth creation is amazing today. And including in Bangalore, for me, Bangalore is the second largest venture capital framework in the world. Because China is being tom-tommed as the venture capital framework, but it's basically government-controlled, government-promoted companies or people whose parents are working in government at senior level are able to set up those companies and become large. India is today allowing every person to come start his venture and make billions, at least attempt to make billions. And BSE has done its own in this area also. BSE has created 3 platforms. One is an incubator with Ryerson University, Canada, where Ryerson University runs an incubator on BSE 18th floor. Some of you who get time today might like to visit the incubator of BSE. BSE has incubated 72 companies by now over last 2 years, funded them. Some of them have also got multi-million dollars of additional funding and grown out and have gone into their own offices. But BSE is seriously trying to contribute. Government of India has also now contributed to BSE's incubation center. It's the most successful but never heard of incubator, because if we start marketing, we will have too many people approaching us for taking their company in. So that's why we are sort of on very low profile basis, but we get some fantastic people coming and working at the incubator, starting up their companies. You might like to actually check out how this thing works. We also have an SME platform where companies as small as $500,000 are coming and raising funds for their growth. And today, over the last 3 years, we have got 138 companies that have been listed on BSE's SME platform. 18 have become big enough to get into the main board. And many of them have given returns 10 times, 20 times of what they came out with in terms of the issue price. Third framework we are just now building is the high-tech platform. In the high-tech platform, the IT companies or high-tech companies which are not making profits also can come and raise their funds. All these are basically highly regulated activities. We don't do anything which is not regulated, but effectively with the aspiration of India, BSE is also ensuring that every youth in India gets a chance at entrepreneurship and create wealth for themselves and for the society. So thank you very much for coming here. I hope this conference is useful to every one of us. Thank you very much.